Let's discuss this adductor canal. The adductor canal is also called the subsartorial canal as it lies under the cover of the sartorius muscle. Before going to the boundaries of the adductor canal, we will first see some structures which you can see in this diagram. In this diagram, you are looking at the anterior part of the right thigh. This structure is the inguinal ligament. This is the femoral triangle in which you can see the sartorius muscle. This is the iliopsoas, this is the pectineus, and this is the adductor longus muscle. These are the muscles of the anterior compartment of thigh in which you can see the vastus lateralis, the rectus femoris, and the vastus medialis muscle, which together get the insertion into the anterior part of the tibia on the tibial tuberosity. Now to find the location of the adductor canal, you will have to continue down from the apex of the femoral triangle. So if you try to insert something into the apex of the femoral triangle, you will eventually enter into the adductor canal. So below this part, deep to this part of the sartorius muscle is the adductor canal. If you remove it from here, you will be able to see the boundaries of the adductor canal. Now in this diagram, you can see they have removed the rectus femoris muscle from here, and the muscle which you can see now is the vastus intermedius. This is the vastus medialis. This is the vastus lateralis muscle. The sartorius has also been removed from here. This is the remaining part of the sartorius. And you can now see that this portion, the portion which was continuing down from the apex of the femoral triangle, the part from where the sartorius has been removed, you can see some thick membrane. This basically is the roof of the adductor canal. So if we see from this diagram, the boundaries of adductor canal will be antero-laterally, it will be bounded by the posterior surface of the vastus medialis. Posteromedially, it will be bounded by two muscles, adductor longus above and adductor magnus below. And on the medial aspect, it is bounded by this membrane which will be overlapped by the sartorius muscle. Adductor magnus is not very clearly visible here. Only this small portion of the adductor magnus can be seen in this diagram. Now if we take a cross section at this part of the thigh, you can see the adductor canal more clearly. Now this is the diagram of a cross section of the right thigh in which you can see the adductor canal. So first we will see all the muscles, then afterwards I'll show you the adductor canal. This is the medial part of the thigh, this is the lateral part of the thigh, this is the anterior part, and this is the posterior part of the thigh. This here is the femur which is cut. This is the attachment of vastus intermedius which is attached to the anterior and to the lateral parts of the femur and also to the linea aspera. This is the attachment of vastus lateralis muscle which starts from the linea aspera and it covers the vastus intermedius on its lateral aspect. This muscle is the rectus femoris muscle and this muscle is the vastus medialis muscle which is taking its origin from the linea aspera. So this all was the anterior compartment of the thigh. Here you can see this white line is the medial intermuscular septum. This one. So behind the medial intermuscular septum, all these structures should be inside the medial compartment of the thigh. Then this white line represents the posterior intermuscular septum. And another white line which is just parallel to this line, this one is the lateral intermuscular septum. So the portion between the medial intermuscular septum and the posterior intermuscular septum is the medial compartment of the thigh, in which you can see the medial compartment muscles. This is the adductor longus muscle, this is the gracilis, and this is the adductor magnus muscle. If this section were from the upper part of the thigh, we could have seen the adductor brevis between the adductor longus and the adductor magnus. So this section is below the point where the adductor brevis ends. So you can only see the adductor longus and the adductor magnus in this diagram. Then between the posterior and the lateral intermuscular septa, you can see this is the posterior compartment of the thigh, in which the only muscle which takes origin from the linea aspera is the short head of biceps femoris. And these three muscles, the semimembranosus, semitendinosus, and the long head of biceps femoris, they all take origin from the hip bone. So these are the muscles of the posterior compartment of thigh. So this is the anterior compartment, this is the medial compartment, and this is the posterior compartment of thigh. Now this muscle here is the sartorius muscle, and this triangular structure, this triangular gap, is the adductor canal. So the boundaries are very clearly visible in this diagram. The antero-lateral part, as this is the lateral part of thigh, so the antero-lateral part of thigh of this adductor canal will be bounded by the posterior surface of vastus medialis muscle. The posteromedial part is bounded by the adductor longus muscle and the adductor magnus in the lower part. In this section you can only see the adductor longus, but if we cut from the lower part, you can also see the adductor magnus in the boundaries of the posterior boundary of the adductor canal. Now medially, it is bounded by a tough membrane which is overlapped by the sartorius muscle. So these are the boundaries of the adductor canal. The adductor canal is triangular in cross section, bounded anteromedially by the posterior surface of vastus medialis, posteriorly by the adductor longus above and the adductor magnus below, and on the medial aspect it is bounded by a tough fibrous membrane which is overlapped by the sartorius muscle. Now this is another diagram in which you can see the adductor canal, which is open as we have removed the sartorius, and the white tough membrane which was forming the roof of the adductor canal. So this muscle is the vastus medialis, this is the rectus femoris, this here is the adductor longus, and small portion of the adductor magnus is visible over here. So the antero-lateral boundary will be formed by the posterior surface of this muscle. The posteromedial boundary is formed by the adductor longus above and the adductor magnus below. And the medial boundary of the roof has been removed in this diagram, which was formed by the white tough membrane over which was the sartorius muscle. Now this is a diagram showing the muscles of the medial compartment. In this diagram, the anterior compartment muscles have all been removed and the sartorius is also removed. You can see the muscles. This is the iliacus muscle, this is the psoas major muscle, this here is the pectineus, this is the adductor longus, this muscle is the gracilis, and this is the adductor magnus muscle. Now you can see in the lower part of adductor magnus there is a triangular opening, and this is called the hiatus magnus. So the structures of the anterior part of the thigh move to the back of the thigh through this hiatus magnus. So you can clearly see, as all the other boundaries of the adductor canal have been removed, the posterior boundary of the adductor canal is very clearly visible here, which is formed by the adductor longus above and this portion of the adductor magnus below. So the hiatus magnus also lies in the posterior boundary of the adductor canal. Now here is a diagram which is showing the contents which pass through the adductor canal. So the contents of the adductor canal are the femoral artery, which is coming from the femoral triangle and coming down and entering the adductor canal. The femoral vein, which comes out of the adductor canal and goes up into the pelvis. And then the two branches of the femoral nerve. This is the femoral nerve. It has a very short course in the thigh, about 2 or 3 centimeters below the inguinal ligament. After that, it divides into its branches. So only two of the branches of the femoral nerve enter the adductor canal. One is this one. This is the saphenous nerve, and this is the nerve to vastus medialis. As you can see, twigs going from this nerve into the vastus medialis muscle. So these are the contents of the adductor canal: the femoral artery, the femoral vein, the saphenous nerve, and the nerve to vastus medialis. It also has branches from the obturator nerve, the anterior and posterior divisions of the obturator nerve, which are not shown in this diagram. So once the femoral artery enters the adductor canal, it reaches down up to the hiatus magnus and passes through the hiatus magnus to reach the posterior part of the popliteal fossa. It reaches the posterior part of thigh, from where it enters the popliteal fossa. So the details of femoral artery and the femoral nerve and the vein will be discussed later. So this was all about the adductor canal. Hope you liked this video, and please share your comments in the comment section below so that I can improve my videos. Thank you.